man doesn't want to change, he will find any woman that is okay with his lifestyle so he doesn't have to grow up. And that's exactly why we find these men fumbling the bag with these high quality women, because you know why? High quality women have standards. They have standards that they will not lower, and they have boundaries. Don't ever think that you are too much for someone, okay? Because you're not. You will be enough for the right person. And if this man out there is making you think anything different, he's not the person for you. What that man does need though is a weaker woman, and that weaker woman is not you. He needs a woman that he's able to manipulate, control, and one that he can feel superior to. I promise you, don't change for anyone, because there's someone out there that's going to love you for all that you are and give you all that you deserve.
Are you sure?
Well, that sure showed me. You ready here? First, gentlemen and gents, modern women are perfect. In fact, they're more perfect than perfect. That's why any man that is ever oh so fortunate to enter into a relationship with these broads are just childish oafs who must grow up and change in order to be worthy of their glorious glory that would put the moderately priced coffee cake at the grand breakfast nook of the intergalactic space god Yoga Chard all hail to complete and utter shame. Which is why modern women are under no obligation whatsoever to do any form of mature work on themselves. After all, that's the man's job, alongside literally everything else in the relationship, apparently. So I guess it just looks like the self-respecting men will never be mature enough for these top-class broads. So I think we should do the honorable thing and just sit out and let this woman find her perfect man. There's no need to get in her way. Don't worry about us, we'll be fine. And on behalf of all self-respecting men from coast to coast, I would just like to say that
You're welcome. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, don't mention it. Use that freedom in any way you like.
Ladies, it is roster era. Do you know what that means? It means hot girl summer is upon us, and we all need to round up our rosters and get our troops in order. With that said, here are my rules for a summer roster. First of all, you need to have one easy target, one guy that you know no matter what, like, they are down and they will be there. Then you have to have a reach. It's kind of like a reach school when you're applying to colleges. This guy is someone that you're like not sure that you can get, but like you are aiming for them and you're hoping that you can make it happen. It's good to like aspire to something, you know?
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You know what's kind of sad? If a modern woman put in the time and energy they put into building these rosters and these needlessly intricate bedroom fun plans as she did into literally anything of actual life value, she could easily have herself a happy and rather content life. Imagine what kind of a powerhouse these women would be if she actually learned how to cook and speak kindly and be feminine instead of passing her stank trench of psychological damage around more than a roll of toilet paper at a seedy, unlicensed Mexican restaurant bathroom. But those days are long gone. Modern women lack the basic cognitive capacity to actually understand that stupid cop-outs like Hot Girl Summer are just a third-class ticket to the wall. And for what exactly? For easy access to validation from simps and a few rolls in the hay with Chad. And the really sad part is that this is common knowledge, especially for anybody who possesses the brain the size of your average chipmunk. But I guess that kind of foresight is just lost on the modern woman.
Then you always have to throw a couple randoms in the mix. Like everyone needs a guy that you just like met on a dating app and you can just like go meet up with for a date or like for a drink, or even that you can like randomly Snapchat when you're bored. Then you have to have someone really out of character for you, meaning whoever you typically go for, this one guy on your roster needs to be the complete opposite. It's always fun to just like add a little bit of spice. Lastly, don't text them sober unless they text you first, and you can always snap them drunk, but don't double snap them. Good luck and let the games begin.
What?
Yeah, I got nothing. I cannot find any reason why these women could possibly think that these quote-unquote strategies are actually useful. Maybe it's because I know how to read. I don't know. You see, a strategy actually has some form of an endgame. What's the end game of this particular strategy of yours, woman? What exactly are you trying to accomplish? I mean, if you're trying to figure out multiple ways of getting infected with the same spectrum of diseases, then mission frickin' accomplished. Which just forces me to think that you don't actually have a plan. You're just focusing on numbers for the sake of bragging rights over who can cause the most amount of personal damage in a 3-month period, which makes sense. You have zero perspective on how life works, and miraculously, even less common sense. You're thinking that you're having fun, but all you're doing is making yourself and as many other modern women as miserable as humanly possible. Oh, maybe that's the end game after all. Go figure.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
The biggest reason why women end up with mediocre men, they don't want to wait. They're impatient, okay? Instead of waiting a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, however long it takes for the right man to come along, you settle. You're like, oh, he's good enough. Or maybe this is love, or they don't want to miss out, right? There's like this whole FOMO thing on a good relationship. There's not going to be a FOMO when it comes to a good relationship. You are just going to know. There's not going to be doubts. There's not going to be intuition flowing through you, telling you, maybe take a closer look. I promise you, the red flags that you are ignoring are going to be the reason why the guy that's meant for you keeps getting pushed out more and more and more, because you are just giving mediocre men or femme men or men that don't deserve your time the attention.
Well, if there's anybody who's an expert when it comes to relationship, it's a single woman over 40 who spent most of her alimony on god-awful tattoos and plastic surgery. They are the wisest of sages, I gotta tell you. And it's kind of funny. For thousands of years, average women got with average men and society was totally fine. It wasn't until fairly recently that these rotten pieces of human fungus started showing up and telling women to ditch their perfectly good relationships for the mere chance that something better could come around. And there's this bizarre notion that the perfect relationship doesn't require work, effort, or compromise, as if the ending to some rom-com is somehow a realistic expectation for life itself. I wish I was kidding, but it's the God's honest truth. These chicks honestly believe that their soulmate is just going to show up randomly and fix all of their problems while giving them a magenta horse and a penthouse apartment with a cheat code to unlock infinite shoes. But those dudes are busy, darling. They're busy doing anything and anybody else. Besides you, of course.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
Super curious how you guys feel about a woman approaching a man. When I'm out, I definitely approach guys, whether it be at the gym, I'll ask them to help me move like a heavy bench, or compliment their outfit or their style. You don't have to like come out all desperate and stuff, like damn, nice. I just want to do a shout out to all girls. If it's okay for girls to hit on guys, right? A lot of girls always tell me if a guy likes you, he'll come over and talk to you. I just want to let them know that is not true.
A smelly fish.
And it's not a cod.
All right, you know what? I gotta call it. I am convinced that modern women have no idea how to talk to men. And it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if there are modern women out there who legitimately think that walking up to a man and making a comment about a man's Johnson is somehow an appropriate icebreaker. I truly wish that I was kidding. Modern women have fooled themselves into thinking that they're the most evolved, emotionally mature humans on the face of the planet, so they assume that men are just simple-minded, bedroom fun-craving lunatics, even though men are responsible for some of the most significant advancements in literally every facet of society, from medicine to engineering, and yet, at the same time, initiating a basic conversation is so complicated for these broads that they'd rather shame these men for not approaching than taking a chance.
A lot of guys don't want to come off creepy or like bother you, and they're not sure if you're even interested because you won't even smile at them. Let daddy know that you're interested. Help me spread the word to more women. We need more women approaching men as well. It shouldn't just be all up to the guys, right? Would you love it if a hot girl said hi to you if she was down? Like, come on, my face. You don't recognize me? Sick joke, sorry, my bad.
Nice try.
Well, if a hot girl comes up to me and tells me she's down, my first inclination is to ask how much, and regardless of the price, I'm just gonna tell her to her face that the price is way too high for a woman like herself. Because let's face it, that's the only real reason why she would approach an average dude. She has no problem approaching men because she's after the top 5%, and trust me, sister, he knows you're down. You've made it obvious. But for the rest of us, if you're interested, it's because you're either desperate to not die alone or you're looking for free food. Either way, it's not our problem. We have better things to do than settle for a brainless woman who is incapable of having a conversation without referring to a man as daddy. It's a classic sign that you have nothing to offer a self-respecting man that he can't provide himself. So to put it bluntly, You are useless, honey. So you might as well just do humanity a favor and leave men alone. They don't deserve that kind of punishment from you.
That's why I say prostitutes, prostitutes.
I'm gonna be real honest with you. If you're not married or gonna get married soon, listen here. If you don't already have kids, congratulations on your first child. If you do already have kids, you're just gaining another one. Men are just adult-sized children. For starters, men mature way slower than women, but that's a whole different topic for a whole different day.
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
Uh-oh, sounds to me like somebody's got a case of the jelly bellies. Hey, woman, don't be hating because you don't know how to have fun. Modern women love to accuse men of being immature babies. It's kind of their thing. When in reality, we spend so much of our lives having to take a lot of things seriously. We have to be mature at work, at home, and in life in general. So in the moments that we can have fun, we love to take advantage. Nerf wars, video games, chess with dice. Yeah, we get up to some silly, immature fun, but we've earned it, woman. You, on the other hand, think having a good time is drinking half a gallon of cheap wine, watching 6 hours of reality TV, while scarfing down junk food and posting on social media about how if you weren't in your husband's house breathing his oxygen, then he'd be a failure at life. You do realize that most men had to be functioning adults before they met you, right? It's kind of a thing that we have to do. We weren't relying on our mothers to wash our clothes and remind us to clean behind our ears before you showed up. So where do you get this notion that we'd be incompetent nincompoops without your incessant nagging?
My husband just called me a little bit ago, asking about a medication that like the name of it, which no biggie, I probably couldn't remember half my medications I've taken in my lifetime either. But then he calls me almost immediately after. Babe, do I have allergies? And to prove one day that men are just giant childs? To prove that men are just giant children, I can guarantee my daughter will ask some of the stupid questions he asks at some point in her lifetime.
And
Oh sure, you definitely are the most developed between the two sexes. You are so well developed that instead of supporting your husband, answering his incredibly basic question and moving on with your life, you went ahead and did what any fully developed, mature, and rationally minded adult would do. You openly disrespected the man you married by calling him a child in front of the entire planet. You're acting mean and condescending and trying to humiliate this man for no reason besides you being the more mature of the two. But we're the immature ones because if you hand us a racquetball, we can keep ourselves entertained for at least 45 minutes. Is that what this is all about? Did you never learn how to bounce a ball when you were a kid? I mean, it's never too late to learn. I'm sure if you picked up a ball and tried to apply your fully developed, mature adult brain to its maximum capacity, I don't want to get your hopes up, but you might actually be able to figure out how to bounce that thing within the next 15 years if you work really hard at it. And then maybe you'll learn to appreciate the simple fun of bouncing a ball instead of going out of your way to break your husband's. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, and share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.